Well, it's back to To Menangle on Tuesday afternoon for an 8-event card. I thought there were three specials on the program in the final three races, commencing in race 6 with My Sweet Hayley Jane, the Ricky Orton trained and driven mare. Now, forget her start at Newcastle last time out. She broke soon after the gates went off and lost considerable ground. She made up many metres over the concluding stages to finish a very good 5th, beaten 8 metres in the race won by Parallel, which happened to be Robbie Morris' 2000th career win. So the effort of My Sweet Hayley Jane was outstanding under the circumstances. She's nicely drawn. I think she can get away with race 6. Then moving over to race 7 on the card, and speaking of Robbie Morris and Lucky Lodge, American Spirit has run his past 2 starts in fine fashion. Firstly at this particular venue, then he went to Shepparton and scored very impressively. Now this 3-year-old colt, 17 starts for 4 wins and 4 placings. Very consistent performer. He's taking on the older horses and has the outside gate, but he's a progressive type, American Spirit. I think he'll give a bold showing in race 7 on the card. And over to race 8, sticking with Loch Lomond. He's had his second start since joining the very astute Jared Orchard stable. Now, Loch Lomond went around here last week, 5 pegs through the middle stages of the race, and outside the leader. His effort over the concluding stages I thought was solid in finishing 5th, beaten 12.5 metres in the race won by Ryan's Gangster. So Loch Lomond, with that run under his belt, he strips fitter, up against similar opposition. I think he'll be very competitive in the final event on the card. Now, for the past 7 weeks, we've been unable to bring you a coverage of interviews and also the tips. I know you probably haven't missed the tips all that much, but the interviews, we certainly did miss them. But unfortunately, 7 weeks ago, we lost a very dear member of our particular team in Mr. John Harbour at the age of 60, passing away on Easter Monday. So for the past 7 weeks, we've been in hibernation as far as the tips have been concerned. We've certainly been missing and grieving the loss of John. I've had the pleasure of working with John over a period of 20 years in various situations, firstly with Harness Racing New South Wales and Trots TV. Then we covered the World Drivers' Championships together, which was conducted here in New South Wales. Then for the past 4 or 5 seasons, we've been working together here with National Trot Guide. John's been behind the camera for about 80% of the time, his wife Michelle the other 20. But John's been that invaluable member who's been able to edit the stories and send them up ready for their publication on the National Trot Guide website. Fortunately, his wife Michelle will now take over that very important role behind the camera. John and Michelle were together for over 40 years as, first of all, friends back in school, then as partners, then they were married, and then business partners throughout that particular period of their lives together, as I said, for 40 plus years. To sum up John in one word would be dedicated. He was dedicated to Michelle, he was dedicated to his lovely daughter Serena, and thankfully Serena will now take over John's role as editing our interviews. But he was very dedicated also to his job, harness racing and thoroughbreds. He covered both, first with the production company and then behind that camera, as I mentioned. What John didn't know about this particular business was not worthwhile knowing. And he also, if anyone needed any help, he was the first one to put his hand up, never said no to anyone, and he was a master at fixing anything that broke down. I know all the participant interviews were shocked and saddened when we discovered the news about John's passing on the 4th of April. In particular, Luke McCarthy. John and Luke were very good mates, and John was very well respected and liked by all those participants back in the barn, whom he worked with for all those years. But it's a very sad loss. John was only 60 years of age. Vale John Harbour, you will be missed.